Hello Milena, this is my feedback to your presentation. Okay, first of all, good use of the template, good slide design, everything is quite good here, except some of those visual aids, but let's talk about that later. For now, I just want to mention 33% similarity. That's not a problem because your similarity is actually basically what you've quoted. So there is no plagiarism. All of that is not counted as plagiarism, so no problem. It's zero, your plagiarism. That's good. First slide, very nice. Here, obviously, you're going to add the information. Now, with the outline, remember the first part of your presentation, that first 3 minutes is basically who you are, about the speaker. So that should be in the outline as well. So I really like that that first slide. Nice picture here, very nice information. I would use more than one slide because it's just a little bit too cluttered, just too many words. But I really like the whole idea. So maybe you can just do education in bigger letters and your picture, and maybe education and goals, and then research interests on a separate slide, because it's just a little bit too cluttered, too many words here. But overall, I like the bullet points, the way you've arranged it on two sides, very nice. And the picture is also really good. Nazarbayev University, that's great. So all of that will be reflected in the outline as well, right? Then you're talking about these features. Now this is good, but we don't want to see continuous text like that. It should all be vertical bullet points. It should be more like this, you see? And just try to reduce the words as much as you can without making it too minimalistic, obviously. But we don't want to see continuous chunks of text, these horizontal, basically, chunks of text. It should be bullet points. Okay. Now here, it's all good. It's a very nice little diagram. I'm not very sure that you would have time to describe all of this. So it could be good. You can talk about it, but just really simplify it for the non-specialists. And again, you do not have much time in this presentation. This one is very difficult. I mean, here, look at that. You cannot possibly read those small letters. And it's so smudgy. I can sort of make out the countries, but and we don't know. I mean, this, you have to follow it all the way here. It kind of gets lost, you see? It's very difficult on the eye, this visual aid, so I'm not sure about this visual aid. It would be good if you had a screen, a very large screen. If you imagine in a big room, in a big auditorium, and had a large screen, then this could work. But right now, with these small letters, plus it's so smudgy, it's hard to see. I would just not use this. Instead of that, you can talk about this nice picture in a very simplified way and mostly focus on yourself. Now, what I'm not seeing here, remember you had to describe, not describe, but sort of give an overview of two sources. I think that's what you're doing here, if that's what you're doing. You could just have a slide on about one source and a slide about another source. Now, so your outline is going to look something like about the author, research interest, goals, ambitions. If you decide to use several slides for the author, I think you should use at least 2 for yourself. So research interests and goals, and the other one would be just basic information. Then the next slide can be a little bit about the issue, but again, the issue is mostly part of your research interests. So you're going to talk about it as part of what you're interested in, not so much as an issue by itself. And then you can talk about the two sources, overview of source 1, overview of source 2, and then reference list. Very simple, because what I'm seeing here, you will end up talking a lot about the content of this method, but it really should be about you, your future goals, your interests. And when you talk about the sources, it should be how these sources helped to shape your interest in the issue. So you could say something like, for instance, I don't know, Jane 2017. So at the top of your slide, your title will be Overview of Source 1, this source. Jane 2017 really helped me to understand that blah 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 blah. You see? That's how you discuss the sources. You're not simply citing them in text, but you should actually mostly talk about how they helped you, how they shaped your interest in the topic. So it's really about you and not about content, this presentation. Okay? Now you have to use one visual aid. Okay, if you want to use this one, that's fine. I think it's a good representation of how the method would work in practice. Fine, you can use it if you want to. But again, we're not talking about content, we're talking about you, your goals, the sources you used, and how they made you even more interested in this field, you know. So it's very centered around you. It shouldn't be centered around content and difficult concepts. So in that sense, this presentation is not like the webinar last semester. It's very different. You could think of it as a kind of a more extended elevator pitch, but the elevator pitch was 1.5 minutes. This is 6 minutes. You could think about it as that. Interesting for the non-specialists, not too much about content. At least half of it should be strictly about you. And again, with these sources, just kind of say, Blinderman was a particularly interesting source for me. It helped me understand the whatever. You see, that's the kind of discussion you should have, not just about the method. Do you see what I'm saying? You can talk about the method, no problem, to interest the audience, but don't use too much technical jargon. Okay? But you've understood how you need to use the slide design and all of that. So I can see there's a lot here. It's a good start. I would say you need to redesign it a little bit to make it more attractive. Not so many words, more bullet points, and more about you. Okay? I hope this is helpful, Milena. I think you'll do a good job. You have a lot of good energy, and I'm sure you will interest the audience. You can find a way to do that. Good luck on your presentation. If you need any more help, just let me know.